what is really working and what is not working with NFTs. And I know we can spend an hour on this, but maybe some quick pointers.
Quick pointers are, oh yeah, what's working? To use the proper vernacular, sick and dope art. So things that are really clever. What I've noticed, especially in our project, Billionaire Zombies Club, there's 23,000 people in the Discord. There's only 3,300 wallet holders, and it's an unsupervised frat house. So know your audience. That's what's working. So the art is going to connect to a particular audience. Like if you look at World of Women, their volume has gone down to the floor, but their floor price is like 3 ETH. And they appealed to a lot of women. They sold out in a week, and then there's been really nothing since. So the big thing that's working right now is ongoing drops, some kind of a roadmap that has a utility. And we started off as a generative art project and transformed into a DAO. So that's another big thing is when you have people that buy into your NFT project and then all of a sudden they're given the opportunity that based on participation and contribution, they can earn more and be a part of a collective environment is really attractive to a lot of buyers.
So I think a lot of people in our audience and people that have been asking me questions as of late really want to get into the NFT space and collaborate and contribute to a project. How does one go about, you know, recognizing what project you want to go with, and then how do you go introducing yourself to collaborate and contribute and earn some of these additional revenues you're discussing?
So the key piece when you're evaluating a project, right? Number one is really do you like the art? Number two is do they have a mission or is it just like what's funny is like Bored Apes started as just a flex, right? Like CryptoPunks were $1 million. Bored Apes popped out. They were really cheap when you first bought them, and then all of a sudden, within like what felt like a couple hours, they were in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's kind of like a flex, like a Rolex or a Ferrari kind of thing. But they are actually moving into a metaverse. They just partnered with a company back or in Asia, gaming company, and they're going to develop something. So we're way far ahead of them because we've already started the development. Like we already have the game, everything that's coming out in like a month and a half. So we're way far ahead. But but they realize they can't just be a flex with merchandise and like the ability for people to print their own t-shirts. Like it's not enough. And so you really have to look at what is the utility, what are you going to be able to do, and do you like the people that you're hanging out with? Like if it's going to be a community, that's a great thing. Or is it going to be an investment, right? Obviously, if you're going to invest in people, that's a thing, right? Like a Banksy, that's a thing. Those things are probably not going to be hit with any kind of decrease in value when the NFT bubble bursts eventually. And it will. I won't say it's going to burst. It's going to have a correction, and the correction is going to be, I hope soon. Like OpenSea, we have about 30 projects that are fake projects that they've stolen probably 2, 3, 400 ETH from our community, selling knockoffs and fakes that are not legitimate, but they won't give us a blue check. So this is a big problem. And then on top of that, they're it's just really too easy. So we need to have a way for the actual artist to verify the collection, not just a wallet verifying a collection. Until we get there, I think that we're going to have some scams. And as we hit this, like, as soon as we hit a news media cycle where we've got like 5 scams in a row, I think the market's going to adjust a little because really only people who know what they're doing should be doing it, unless it's Vegas money, right? That's why I always tell people, look, if you want to learn, here's a great way to learn. You go look at, there's a minting calendar, which I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but I'll send it when I can. And it basically tells you when everybody's going to drop and then what the mint price is. So I always say mint on Polygon because your gas fees are like 2 cents. So prep that, get your MetaMask set up, make sure you've got the Polygon mainnet on there. Add some Matic because you're going to need that, but Matic's pretty cheap. So get that, and then buy a little bit, right? Like go spend $20 on a brand new mint and then watch. Because usually when you mint a project, if it's got a really good Discord or a really good Telegram, it's got good socials, they're active, they've been doing AMAs, those are called Ask Me Anythings. if they do AMAs regularly and the core team is like actively involved with the community, that's a really good sign. So you want to get in on those mints because usually you're talking 20 to 50 bucks and you'll turn around and they'll be worth 100, 250. That's just kind of like the way the secondary market works. So for practice, I would say those are pretty good practice ones before you start buying more expensive NFTs.
Well, there's so much to unpack here. I want to introduce
Which is
some.
why replays are on.
Right, what replays are on in this room because we want you to listen to it and listen to it again because the more you can immerse yourself in these replays and stuff on our YouTube channel, I'm going to post it in the section up top so you can join it. The more you can listen to it, the easier it is for us here collectively to work with you because the more the management team knows, the better. So we love replays. And Adrian, before I introduce everyone else, I just want to unpack what you just said. How many different NFTs are in the category that you just launched in this drop that you just launched?
We don't have very many like full competitors. In terms of 10K generative art, there's probably 1,000 projects. In terms of a 10K generative art transition to a DAO with a metaverse 3D game and a whole bunch of all the other stuff that we have, I would say there's maybe 10.
And how
So not
many were in the 10K generative art projects? How many you said? About a
a
thousand?
thousand. Oh, at least 1,000. Well, because you can literally go on Fiverr and for 500 bucks somebody will make you one. And then you just upload it through the API on OpenSea and boom, done. Like it's not rocket science, but that's the key, right? So the art is actually like the placeholder, but it's not worth anything unless there's a community behind it. The community is what makes all of these projects valuable.
And the community also, I believe, with what you said earlier, has to serve a purpose. Like you're building this community because they're going to be playing games or watching TV
Yes.
or whatever they're going to be doing,
Or
you know,
saving the world, which is really what we
saving the
did.
world. Yeah.
So we dropped 1 billion tokens on Giving Tuesday, 1 billion tokens to nonprofits. So we are cleaning water, we're planting trees, we're building birthing clinics in Uganda, we're providing period cups in third world countries so that girls don't have to drop out of school because of period poverty. We've got education. I mean, it's like crazy business, right? You want to talk about saving the world. And like I said, my 23,000 unsupervised frat boys actually have hearts of gold. It's amazing. So the community does all this stuff and the DAO, what we're minting today are the kings, right? So the kings council is the DAO. They vote on what the treasury does with its money. So can you imagine you've got all these people who minted for because the people who minted are the ones who got the keys, right? So they minted for 40 bucks or 25 Matic, which was like 40 bucks at the time, October 31st. And so for $25, they then got dropped skeleton keys, they got dropped metacrystals, they got dropped tokens. They're now minting keys, and those people who originally minted, they're literally the DAO. They are the DAO. They literally control $1 billion treasury. It's insanity.
It's the
But this is what happens in the metaverse when in the
fastest
and
way to a job, I think.
yes, it's crazy. But what we're building is really a universe, and this is where you can get so creative, and there's literally nothing you can't do. If you can think it, you can do it, and that's the beauty of this. Is there's no because it is the metaverse. You're not even ruled by physics. You really can do absolutely anything you want.
We love these new plays. This is awesome. Thank you. And then, Frank, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Frank. I'm from London, and I've literally been getting into the deep end of the audio side of NFTs and creativity. And basically, I taught myself how to make music years ago. That was in '99, around that time, and I got my first television placement in 2009. And obviously, I've seen the power of audio. So it's not just only music, but the power of audio. So the what I've also realized is that there's many music producers and ASMR artists and people who do spoken word who don't know the value of NFTs at this point, and they have so much amazing art that fits very well with the actual art that's out there. So the audio and the music fits well with art. And I was doing a lot of research and on Jean Michel Basquiat, and I don't know if anybody knows about this artist that
Oh, for
in the
sure.
80s. You know about him?
Yeah,
Yeah, you know about him. Yep. So
yeah.
he inspired me on how we can move the this arena into a very immersive audio and art type of metaverse. And this is I'm trying to engage um, 1 million people to change the space with audio and art. So that is my aim. That's what I'm actually working on at this point. And with my experience, especially with music, I think it's the right space to grow and build the next billion dollar company, because I do believe that those people are not being engaged, and especially the music producers and the creatives and songwriters and singers and people with talent that are all around the globe in different countries that are not really given a voice. So I see there's a big opening there, and I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Jeanette?
Hi, I am a professional text-plainer and a producer here at Infiom. I have been writing and talking about blockchain for about 7 years, and I have been learning at an exponential pace because of all of these fabulous panelists we have here, and I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Chris, you have a little auction that just ended?
Yeah, real quick, I'm Chris McCartney. I was a film producer for about 20 years, and now, though, I've got a company called the Crypto Art Agency, and we have a collection called the Classic Sci-Fi Art Anthology, and that is classic sci-fi art from 1910 to 1970. It's in a museum store now, but we've ventured into NFTs. And yeah, like Mariana said, we just did a joint venture with Wax. We did a small auction. It was one piece, one of one, and we put it up for auction, and it did incredibly well. I haven't talked to Wax yet, but it started out at 3,000, and it sold today at 11 o'clock for 75.48. So it went up 2.1 times what we were initially, and had a lot of action on it the first 2 days, and then today it really just got crazy. Like most auctions, it ended up being two people that I'm sure now hate each other, but they kept just bumping each other up, and eventually one of them took it. And we did something a little different. They've got the NFT, but also we're going to send them a museum quality canvas framed print so that they can show that they have this one-on-one NFT and hang it in their, I don't know, office or in their living room. And if it's a guy, I'm sure he'll be showing all of the women and bragging about it. But it was a lot of fun. We're going to be talking to him later this week and some other companies that we're working with and do it again. But I think it went really well for our first outing.
That's awesome. Daniel, how are you doing today?
Hi, how are you? Hello, everybody. This is Dan Truque. I'm with Symbiont. I'm now part of Permissionless Blockchain Lab within Symbiont. Symbiont is actually a permission blockchain aimed at financial institutions. More recently, we've started exploring what type of integrations with public blockchains would make sense. My background's in management consulting, banking, fintech, and quant finance. And within the tech ecosystem, I just love looking at all the innovation within blockchain and try to tear the projects apart to understand the technology underlying. And with NFTs, as some of you that have heard me in prior calls, I'm always one of the critics of saying like the NFT is not a new type of security, simply a vehicle to wrap something that already exists. If you have something that is art, it'll be property. If it's something that's paying cash flows, it's going to be a security. NFT just happens to be the wrapper around it. So that's usually kind of like I like to delve into the regulatory and specific technology implementations of the different things in blockchain.
Awesome. Aziza, you had a question, I think.
Um, okay, from Nigeria. Well, I kind of been listening to what's happening here, and I was like, I'm an engineer, but I just currently moved into the NFT world and got to know what it's all about and what's happening in there and into the crypto world. And in the light of the NFTs, I collaborated with a friend of mine, and we were able to um, create some NFTs for fun. But over 2 months, we've been able to have over 50,000 people that owns our NFT. Although we're still working on it, because we kind of battling with being verified or being sold. Although we are selling, but it's kind of moving little by little, and we have vision to be able to meet up to the market standpoint and be able to sell it. I kind of have more than 50,000 people that have a couple of my NFTs, and but for me it's just for fun. But I just wish maybe this becomes something in the future, or OpenSea gets to verify it or anything. But that's what I'm just working on. I just got to know about it 2 months ago, and I just said, let me just do it, and it's going. So that's it.
So you have 50,000 people holding what kind of NFTs?
Um, well, I call it the Billionaire NFTs. I just draw and mint it under the Polygon. So that's just the process. I just did it for fun. I haven't really got to know the interiors and know much about it. Everything was just for fun, and all of a sudden a lot of people are holding it. Although I'm just having people that are suggesting a lot of things to me, but I don't know how to move with them. I don't know what to say to them. So I'm just there. But what I know is that, yeah, I have some NFTs that I'm minting, and then with my friend, and then some couple of people in Africa said they loved it and they have it. So that's it.
Okay, and do you have any do you have a certain place where we can look at your NFTs? Do you have a link
Yeah,
to them? Okay. Why don't
yeah.
you put it, how should she do it, Adrian, so we can all see it? What's the fastest way?
I don't know how to do that here.
She can back channel you the link and you can put it up at the top and pin it.
Okay, back channel me the link and I'll put it up, and then we can look at your NFTs. How's that?
Okay, okay, that would be good. Or I will have to go
The
back to my
Okay.
profile and check
the
for that while we
the
continue with the discussion.
the other
This
way
good.
she can do it is Socia Tap. If she clicks on me and goes to my Instagram, she can see I have a sociatap.com link with my name. And you can put all of your NFTs in there and have everything easily displayable in a link in bio.
Okay.
Then people don't have to go look; they can easily find it.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
we
Wasn't
everybody
it
can see them. Thanks for coming to share that with us.
Thank you.
when it comes to any kind of art or anything creative like an NFT or any kind of collectible, if you create anything collectible, like, you know, just like anything that you would create in real life, other than, if it's not digital, try and have some sort of plan for that. So if you create, it's just like if I create any kind of music and I have my super world spaces, my land, I want that music to have a specific reason for it to be there. So that whatever you create in the NFT space, so that if anybody asks you why you created it or what is this NFT, have a reason or have something, so that when people go in there, they can have a backstory and have some sort of emotional connection to that art that you've created. And when people own it, they have a reason for owning it. So it has real value because that's what people want. They want something that they can hold that has value that they can resell.
Okay, I want to talk about the article in the newsletter that is focused on Amazon investing in the fractional sports trading card marketplace called Dibs, which is on a Wax platform, and that allows users to purchase and sell fractions of collectible trading cards. So, Daniel, what do you think there in terms of regulatory issues, if any?
Well, I think like with regulatory issues, it's one of those things where it can be very simple, very complicated, depending on how you want to see it. Uh, I think that the simplicity of the regulation is that it is very clear to a certain extent what feels like a security and what is just property. So again, if it's just art, you can claim that is property, and then it's you're just buying and selling something that happens to be a painting, only it happens to be digital. If somehow that painting happens to have some other cash flows, starts to feel like a starts to feel like a security. So at that point, you should be worried that some regulator may claim that that is a security, and then you're in a violation if you start offering it to the general public. Um, that's especially true in the space when you're selling uh, royalties or cash flows derived from the revenues generated from the music of an artist or the revenue from the tour of a given artist, like a musician or something. That is definitely when you're doing a security, and that's where you got to be very careful. And again, when I meant like the complexity or the simplicity, is more in reality, depending on which country you are. If you're in the US, there's a huge risk that something would happen. If you're outside of the US, you got to check the local requirements. But in the US, then it's also like you may want to think, what is your risk as an individual of issuing this security? Is the SEC really going to come after you? Also, depending what type of like industry you work in, a slap on the wrist could be career ending. In my cases, I've been in finance. For me, I don't want that. You happen to be outside of finance, and you think you can actually take that risk and expose yourself to a slap on the wrist by the SEC or a fine or something. That's your risk to take. That's not something I would do or would recommend. But it just seems that more and more people keep issuing NFTs that have additional functionality and additional benefits, and like I mentioned, in some cases, cash flows, to just make it seem very obvious that it's a security. And they're just taking, in many cases, a non-calculated risk that there may be action in the future for offering an unregistered security. So that's always the way I see it from the regulatory angle. It is, in many cases, the person issuing the NFT knows very well if it's a security or not. They're just gonna try to make a case that it is or that is not, depending on how they're offering it. So, but I mean, like it in many cases, what I see in this industry is people lying to themselves as a way of convincing other
Yeah, here I'm seeing more and more of these fractionalized NFTs, and we've been, kind of discussing it in the clubhouse over this past year that, if you're selling NFTs as art or even collectibles as cards, it's pretty clear, that is still property. It's been around, this business model's been around for many years, et cetera, et cetera. But now there was basically a $6 million auction on a Ross Albrecht Genesis NFT collection, and now it's being fractionalized among members of a decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO. So this is something we've been saying for months now. This is really feels more like a security, but it seems to me that there are more and more companies in this space, and now we have an investment from Amazon into it. So do you feel that that would help the regulation on this and clarity of it, or is it going to get even more challenging as more players come in?
once you bring in fractionalization, is one of those things where like you could almost say it's automatically a security. The case with the DAO is interesting, but in general, when you fractionalize some property, you're gonna do it via an SPV, some legal entity that owns that property, and then people get shares on that legal entity that owns the property. The moment you're receiving shares, at that point is definitely a security. If you do it through a DAO, where the DAO somehow is issuing tokens and it's not really a legal entity because DAOs are not legal entities, then you're in gray zone territory. But if you look at it kind of like in the spirit of what it represents, a regulator might as well say that is a security, even though it's it's not in the traditional way that you would fractionalize like ownership in the traditional markets. But it's one of those things when again like you could do it. You could, if you have good lawyers and a good war chest, you could argue that it's not a security, and maybe you may not even be a target of regulatory action, but you're exposing yourself. So it's really more it's a calculated risk, and again, it depends really where you're standing. If you're willing to take that.
We lost Daniel mid-sentence, but what's really interesting in this week's newsletter is that, you know, there's that article that really kind of takes us into this land of uh, fractionalized NFTs, and then Coinbase, which had a very challenging time here in the US offering their yield product, launches the DeFi yield earning service to over 70 countries, but not to the United States. So do you feel that, you know, thank you, Daniel, for coming back. Do you feel that, you know, between these two articles where you're seeing Amazon investing in fractionalized NFTs and Coinbase launching in 70 jurisdictions with the DeFi yield product, but not being able to launch in the US, are we sort of being like in an area here in the US where we're quote unquote overly protected with regulation?
Yeah, so sorry, I cut out there for a while, but I got the tail end of your question. I'm assuming it's is regulation overly protective in the US?
Yeah, because Coinbase just launched to 70 other jurisdictions, you know, that DeFi yield product that they, you know, they had trouble launching here in the US.
Yes. So there's two sides of it. One is, of course, more regulation hinders innovation, which means then, of course, other jurisdictions will gain on the U.S. Because then innovation on this area is going to happen in other countries. So, of course, that makes the U.S. potentially lose positioning. However, I mean, at the beginning of the call, where Adrian was just talking about how there's like some scams and fraud going on even within NFTs because there's no control of who's the issuer, who's the legit one. So regulation is there for a reason, and it's to protect the investors. And in situations where suddenly the floodgates open and retail investors that may not be as disciplined or even as versed in how to perform the correct due diligence when investing in property or financial instruments, regulation is meant to protect them from getting scammed. Of course, in some situations, it may feel like, oh, they're keeping like all the good deals only for the accredited investors, and this is actually like an elitist approach. Yes, there's also that argument that can be made. Um, the best approach is what I've seen in many other countries, where essentially a sandbox is created. And in that regulatory sandbox, you're allowed to do things that would otherwise go against existing regulation, but you do it within the sandbox so that regulators can take a look at it, understand the technology, see if the risks are the same as in other areas, and then essentially promote the innovation without killing it, even kind of like a ring fenced area to grow, and then decide, okay, this is too risky, let's squash it, or we can regulate it, make it safe in a way without hindering innovation. I think in the US, that's what has been lacking. We don't really have regulatory sandboxes for this innovation to happen. But yes, indeed, regulation has killed innovation in the US. Uh, on the other hand, the market doesn't seem to care, and there seems to be a lot of growth regardless. So it's a tough situation, and indeed, other countries have played their cards much better than the regulators in the U.S. that have aimed on the side of extreme caution.
Yeah, which is kind of increased, I would say, in the last few months, unfortunately. That said, the bored apes are going. I think every big company on planet Earth is going to have a bored ape as part of their brand. Now, the eToro CEO changed his profile. Yoni Asia changed his profile picture to a Bored Ape on Twitter. Um, and of course they have the rights to commercially use that Bored Ape in any way they need to with eToro. Do you guys see that this is like an ultimate branding play, and how is this going to help the original group of Bored Apes, I think that Adrian mentioned in the beginning?
Well, I have a theory on this. At some point, you're going to run into a bad actor who is going to make a Bored Ape porn movie that is going to make all of the brands, the Smuckers, Family Friendly, eToro, like all the major Gap, Nike, whatever, uh, where they could buy a Bored Ape and literally put out an entire line of clothing at Gap that's that particular Bored Ape, because as you said, they get the commercial rights. I think it's going to negatively impact all of the normal brands, and somebody could torch it in a heartbeat.
Sorry, I'm late. I definitely came in at a specific moment. I'll hope to catch up in the next 20 minutes. Sorry.
Why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, oops. Yeah. Well, I can't even remember what I've said last in this room, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing I've been doing all year. But yeah, as of, I guess, earlier this month, was able to actually put out something publicly. I'm just working on crypto native hardware, and it's just a pair of smart glasses. It's called Gallery Lens. And yeah, that'll be out next year. And basically, we're vertically integrating an entire crypto product so that you can not rely on like Zuckerberg for anything, especially because he has discussed going into augmented reality. But beyond that, kind of it's a Web3 native device where like we're trying to like restore balance or like undo this like dynamic of like where you're the product and your data is sold on the back end. Yeah.
I love it. That sounds like a lot of fun. I need a pair.
Yeah.
I wanted to follow up with Adrian's comment about the Bored Apes porn movie, and what I'm wondering is if that's going to actually reflect badly on the kind of people that the brand is trying to attract,
Yeah,
or
that's the point.
if they're just going to feel like, oh well, that's super cool that there's a porn movie. I mean, I'm not sure that, if you're putting a Bored Ape in your marketing, you're probably not going after, Thelma age 72 with 12 cats, right? So
You never know. I think there is actually a Desperate Ape Wives that is a 72-year-old Thelma with cats. So they are brand expanding to hit everything from toddlers to, the people living in God's waiting room. So I do think they are trying to expand with the different collections. But my whole point is the way that they wrote the licensing agreement, so much freedom to do whatever they want with their ape, that I feel like we're all like in it together, and there's camaraderie, and we're elevating the whole metaverse and NFT economy, across the board, all boats rise. We're like in it together. It just feels like it's such a family friendly thing. Oh my God. But somebody's going to come in and torch it. So then we
no,
have to figure out what to do with that.
yeah, I think you're probably right, but I also think that, the amount of money that you pay for a Bored Ape, if you're an Adidas or you're a tea company, is such a small thing. So if you use it for 2 or 3 months and then the brand safety is gone, you just dump it, right? It's like paying an ad agency for one ad. I mean, that's kind of how I perceive it would go, but maybe I'm being naive.
No, I think you're right. I mean, it's the whole point is, if they haven't already thought of it, shame on them,
Yeah.
because they have to know. Now, the good part is, this is the one saving grace, and hopefully they've already figured out how to position this. Each ape is individually owned, right?
Hmm.
So if you own that ape, your ape is well behaved. That's like saying, I don't own Charlie Sheen, right? I'm over here, Matt Damon, family
Yeah,
friendly,
yeah,
got 3 kids, like
yeah.
that whole bit. I'm not Charlie Sheen. So you could take it that way. But it is going to create an interesting paradox for the brand as a whole.
I think
But I have a feeling it will shake out okay, and it's just going to be some shocking things.
I think you're right. I think the biggest danger to the brand is them overreacting to a potential problem. I think
Right.
if they kind of ride it out and they're chill about it, it can be fine. If they overreact, then I think the feedback, the lashback would be kind of epic, and that would be a huge mistake.
Exactly. So they basically, and this is what I tell every major brand, if you do not have a 14-year-old who's really heavy into Reddit on your staff, you can be sideswiped. You need to know every single thing you do. I always bring this up. When the Trump Pence logo came out and they put it up there, it took less than 3 minutes for somebody to turn it into the P penetrating, or the T penetrating the P, and make it into a moving graphic that was very explicit. So, like, you need to know what they're going to do to you.
Yeah, my friend achieved absolute epic status by having an entire Reddit subthread devoted to hating on her. Which has been growing over the last 5 years. So she's
Exactly. It's a whole
she's doing
nother level of
something right.
fame. But you have to, there's two things. You have to learn how to stand in the fire, right?
Right.
Exactly what you said, you have to learn how to respond, right? So that's the key piece. And depending on the level of depravity, I would say, unless it's something, no children, no animals, no relatives, although the ape is already an animal, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Like, really, like, keep it as clean as possible. Unsupervised frat house is normal. So compliment the creativity, or be like, wow, how much lube did that take? Like, just really play it off
Or
and deadpan it, and
right.
it goes away faster.
Or learn how to clap back. Like we've seen some
Yes.
amazing brand clapbacks on Twitter from the Popeyes chicken sandwich to Wendy's to, I mean, some of these companies are getting extremely good at it. Even Peloton with their "He's Still Alive" ad that they just did. It's amazing how fast they can respond now.
I
I don't know
mean,
if you
well,
saw
let's
that.
be clear though. They did a product placement and they didn't know that he was going to die on the Peloton.
Right.
They didn't read the script.
No, I get that problem, but I also think that the way that they responded with a commercial in 48 hours with Ryan Reynolds was pretty epic.
That is epic, and that is a good ad agency right there.
But also you have to think about the fact, I mean, I didn't want to make this comment, but I sort of have to. The whole Kardashian media and consumer goods empire started with what can one construed as a porno tape.
A
So
leaked
you have
sex
to
tape of Kim Kardashian. Yes,
basically.
but that's what I'm saying, right? So you have a lot of mainstream America, right? The flyover states and everything. They would be offended, but the coasts are not going to be offended. And advertising agencies and brands have figured out how to spin off, play, and profit from that. So it's not going to be bad in the long run, but that's why I was saying the whole bubble, it's not a bubble, it's going to be a correction. When something like that happens and people realize, oh, this isn't all sunshine and lollipops, okay, maybe we got to take this a little bit more seriously, maybe we got to do a little bit more careful planning, insulate, more contracts, blah, 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 blah.
But Adrian, who's actually making the decision to do all that within Bored Apes? How does that actually happen?
It's not.
Okay.
That's my point.
That is the
It's
point.
not.
Yeah.
It's a DAO. I believe it's a DAO. If it's not a DAO, it will be in a hot second. So that's the licensing agreement. And the way that the licensing agreement is written, because it's an NFT, they can't actually, I don't believe, I have not read it myself, but I'm almost positive it does not include a caveat that says that they can update and change it whenever they need to. So I'm pretty sure that if you bought a minted ape from the get-go, you have complete and total rights to that ape. And like I was saying, it's kind of like saying, well, all actors are not the same. You could buy a family-friendly actor for the Hallmark Channel, and you could buy Charlie Sheen, and then there you go.
Well, what's really interesting, I think, with Bored Apes is that they had such a tremendous commercial success, and they literally launched NFTs into the enterprise brands with everything that's happening with the Bored Ape and brands. But yet, I'm not really sure how the Bored Apes project itself is growing strategically, benefiting from all this, and how is this
It's
managed?
royalties and building up a treasury, and then they're doing brand partnerships. I just had the most brilliant idea. So since you know everybody in Hollywood, I'm going to gift this to you, and then introduce me when you find the person who's going to do it. or if creative artist agency is going to fire up a PFP division. Because when you're talking about Bored Apes, that literally means that that ape has commercial rights, whoever owns that ape, and that is like being Charlie Sheen or Matt Damon or Brad Pitt without a shirt on. I mean, seriously, you could literally create a character personality for each PFP that could then sustain, and then they could literally do like this particular Bored Ape only does like Smucker's family friendly commercials, this one only sells fast cars, this one is only interested in Rolexes and everything, you know, full-blown luxury private jets. Like you can really create a persona around every single PFP because you own the commercial rights, and then you can leverage that through these brand partnerships and commercial endorsements.
And they should create their own talent or use the existing talent.
I'm sorry, my phone keeps ringing. No, what I was saying is CAA should have a division specifically for leveraging PFPs and having and basically being the agent of record of all of those PFPs. I might
Got it.
actually go do that. I might actually go do that. If you find me the right agent, I probably have 6 different major PFP projects that might sign on for that to give everybody an opportunity to leverage their PFP.
And create actual value out of the brand that they created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's cool. It's a
Yeah.
good idea, Adrian.
It's a great idea, and I have no bandwidth, and you have all the connections, so please run with it. I need
Okay.
it.
I'm just going to be sitting there with my brain plugged into all of your ideas and Jeanette's ideas and Frank's ideas and just telling you, okay, call so and so, do this.
Exactly. Well, you are the world's best super connector, let me tell you. And when they don't
Connecting
understand
people.
what I just said, Jeanette can explain it to them in English.
That's my job.
I know, right?
I'm
That-
really excited. I'm really excited because I think, well, so far I don't think there's any British um NFT bands that they've created, any of the brands have created to top the charts over here. I know in America now they're having their own Bored Apes group,
Mm-hmm.
which they're now going to have an album and they're probably going to perform in the metaverse somewhere. But I don't think there is any British ones, and I don't think there's any Korean ones. And I have a feeling that they're going to be appearing in different kind of NFTs are gonna come up. I think.
Well, we could easily put together a British band of zombies and use a character animator and literally have them performing and make music videos and make real actual music. That could be kind of cool.
Yeah, that I think that needs to happen because
I think that needs to happen. I'm literally about to make a zombies album. It's hilarious. We have all of these celebrities and these rap stars and these EDM stars, and I wanted to make an album, and I'm like, TikTok, my deadline is December 31st. Could we actually make an album by the end of the year? So
yeah,
maybe at least one song, but maybe. And we're gonna do a whole. It's gonna be a crypto. You know, it's a major flex, but it's super exciting and like actually really good music. It's not stupid. Like I swear, the Desperate Wives apes. Oh, it's terrible. It's just it's so camp. It could technically not be terrible, but it's terrible.
it's always the ones that you think are terrible that that do the best.
I know it's gonna go viral. I mean, it's that. It's like okay. I don't know if you remember. It's Friday, Friday, Friday. Remember that one? That song, Friday, that you got stuck in your head for like the 5 years it took to get out of your head. And I'm sorry, I just planted it back in there. I apologize in advance. That was like the worst song ever, and it totally went viral because it was so bad. The Desperate Ape Wives is going to be like that.
Oh,
But I don't want to be known for that. I want to be known because I'm hot and I'm talented and I drop freaking truth bombs.
I have one thing to say to you, Adrian.
Right. Oh my God. At least it wasn't Baby Shark.
That's true. It did have a tune.
Don't mess with
Oh,
Jeanette. She's an opera singer.
I know. Yeah, no, don't do me, Baby Shark. And I managed to make it through 18 years of my child's life with no Barney. I call that a success.
Maybe you can put it with the Bored Ape band.
Oh my goodness. No, I'm not a bored ape. I'm a billionaire zombie.
Okay, so Billionaire Zombie, tell me about the project.
Oh, it started off as a PFP project, 10K generative art by a Singaporean customs agent. So he's an artist, but he has a day job. And he followed Hashlips, which they have this step by step by step how to make a 10K generative project. He'd never done it before. He was very obedient, did every single step, boom, got it up there, and started minting. And everybody loved the art. And so a bunch of OGs started noticing. Our fearless leader, who we call One because everybody's anonymous but me, he noticed the project and offered a collaboration and has just skyrocketed the project. So I'm now a co-founder of the club. We have this whole, we've taken it from what was originally just one drop of a 10K PFP to a game, to the skeleton keys. We just minted kings today. So for the DAO, those people are controlling $1 billion treasury. We have a whole charitable angle, and then we've got all of these different pieces and parts in the metaverse, like castles and Hummers and all sorts of things. And we're going to be selling land. It's literally take over the world by summer. It's insanity. And the pace, this is what people don't understand about these NFT projects, right? You think of a project and you go, okay, and you map out what is normally considered a reasonable timeline, right? And I always say, if you come up with an idea from the moment that you have the art minted, then you need 60 days to launch it properly to really do it. Well, I am telling you right now, I'm wrong. You do need 60 days. You're not going to get 60 days because by the time 60 days rolls around, the entire marketplace has up-leveled and 10x and you're behind and now you got to start over again. It is insanity. We have done a drop every single week for the last 5 weeks. Remember, we launched
Drop of
October
what?
31st. We
What were you
dropped
dropping?
we dropped skeleton keys to everyone who actually minted, not bought on the secondary market, but the original minters. They all got skeleton keys. Then we dropped metacrystals to everybody who owned zombies, and those metacrystals were then revealed later to be power ups and extra things in the metaverse that they're going to need for the game. Then we dropped tokens, and you need the tokens because if you have a skeleton key and 250,000 tokens, then you can actually mint a skeleton king, which are the rulers of the DAO. You still need zombies because the kings can lead zombie hordes in the game, but they otherwise they're just on the king's council and make decisions. And you need the zombies, but you need the power ups to power up your zombies to go actually win in the game to earn more tokens. And with those tokens, you can buy more stuff like land, castles, all sorts of crazy, crazy, amazing stuff. So we literally didn't charge for any of those extra drops. That was just gifts to the community because we needed to set the stage for what we wanted to do with the metaverse. And so that's where people have trouble. They keep trying to cash grab out of their community, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You want to build up the community, make your entire community billionaires. This is how you do it, because this way they all have it. Now all the newcomers are like, oh my goodness, I want that. So you're rewarding loyalty and people who hodl, and that's a big piece that people don't forget. Is how are you going to build that loyalty with your community? That's the number one sign that your project is going to last.
So in the token, when you issue the token, is that traded on an exchange or?
It's on QuickSwap at the moment, and once the game is open, now it already has utility because we use them to mint. So you have to spend them to mint your metacrystals into in-game assets, and you needed to spend them to mint from your skeleton key, which you don't burn, by the way. To mint a skeleton king, you needed 250,000. So those are the things that happened so far. But when the game opens, then we'll have our own. We'll have a DEX, basically, that people can just go in and just buy them when they need them. Self-serve.
How can people on this call get involved?
BillionaireZombies.club.
But can you mint something at this point, or do you have to buy it, or how does that work?
Buy it on the secondary market. So Billionaire Zombies Club on OpenSea. If you go to billionairezombies.com, in the upper link, you can link to the OpenSea. And there are a bunch of scammy ones, so please make sure that it's the actual real project. That's big deal. We've had so many scams, and they won't blue check us yet. So I'm going through, and I'm probably going to have to write them a very strongly worded lawyer letter, and then have a lawyer send it,
This is
and
for
go from there.
OpenSea, right?
Yeah, because OpenSea won't verify us. I'm now 45 days into an open support ticket with no reply. It's insanity. So it is what it is, but I'm not happy about it. And they ask for like direct access to a Google Drive with all of the art in it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that makes it even easier to scam,
That
you know?
that's not very good customer service, but
It,
it's
it's
the
not.
way
I
it
said
goes.
I said as soon as you want to check it, let me know. I'll send you the link, and then I'm going to delete it, and they won't respond. And they won't say, no, we need the link and we'll check it when we want and we'll let you know. So I'm going to reapply. I'm going to give them what they want and we're going to see. Because I'm a blue check verified. I have over 50,000 followers and we're almost at 500 ETH.
Wow.
And you only need 100 to get verified. And almost all of our collections, our floor price is 10 on the Kings that we just minted like an hour ago. It's
Wow,
crazy.
that's insane. So out of the 10,000 projects, you're saying the floor price is now 10 ETH?
I'm saying, well, we have multiple collections. So we have the original Billionaire Zombies. The floor price dropped on that because everybody was selling their zombies to buy keys so that they could mint kings, right? So right now, if you want to go collect zombies, which you need for the game anyway, they're on sale. I mean, like you can pick them up for a couple $100, and they were $900 a week ago. But everybody, as soon as they figured out, oh my God, I need keys. So then the key price is like 0.7. It's like $3,000 for a key. So they're selling off their zombies so that they can buy a key so that they can mint, because they got a lot of tokens because they had a lot of zombies. So now they need keys so they can mint kings so they can be part of the DAO so they can, rule the treasury.
This is so fascinating, Adrian. Every time I speak with you, I feel like you're years ahead of the rest of the NFTs market. And your thinking is years ahead, and then your projects are years ahead. And it seems that the population is kind of following you. The consumers are actually getting on board. So that's awesome.
Oh, they are, and just wait until we do the metaverse launch because I am building my concert hall, which I told you about before, what I was doing with the musicians. So I'm actually building that venue, and I have that being built right now in Unreal Engine, and it's quite fabulous.
That's
It's like
amazing.
50,000 people at once and separated out into general admission, VIP, backstage pass. I've got a whole freaking green room. Like if you're with the band, the experience is totally different. Oh my God. So that's why I'm saying we need a zombie band. Because it's in the zombie universe.
That's really awesome. I love it.
So there won't just be zombies, battles, and bloodshed. There will be more than that. But we've got a 10-year plan. So this is not just a regular project. That's why I'm so excited.
I'd be a vocalist in the zombie band, but they'd probably break up after that.
Why? You have an amazing voice. I will find a way.
No, because the vocalist always breaks up the band. You know that.
Oh, well, that's true. Okay. But, I have crypto vixens, and you are a crypto vixen. So,
Very excited about that.
we could do that too. So we got all the girls that can sing. We were all going down to Miami. They're like, we're filming a music video. I'm like, I'm in Reno. They're like, fly out. We're filming a music video. I was like, damn.
I know there's this whole have to do real work thing that kind of sucks.
Well, I just left Miami. I came home and it's like, it's snowing sideways. Sideways, people, sideways.
Where's home?
Reno, for now. I was moving to Miami. They all want me to move to Miami.
Well, most of the crypto conferences for next year seem to be in Miami or there or around there.
Yeah.
That's why they want me there. Plus, then I don't have to get on an airplane and I can still speak 3 days a week. And no airplanes.
And you don't have to be virtual. This is the reason why we started Infiom salons in the first place, because when we launched it, there was literally a blockchain week all over the globe in places where you could not speak, in Hong Kong, and then be in London at the same time, right? So
Right.
it became almost impossible to, even get our team members where we wanted them to be. So we would do these events, and basically, if the blockchain week was in, Singapore, there would be an event with Infiom there, or Santa Monica, or Texas, and that's really what started kind of the whole idea behind Infiom.
Oh, well, just wait, because when we get the Metaverse Conference Center up, we're going to be able to do those hybrid events or just strictly digital events, virtual, that'll blow your mind. With the virtual swag bags and the whole NFT thing, and it designed especially for people like you, with the content that you provide, with the high level access and the people that you bring in that are like unobtainium elsewhere. It's especially for that.
We love it. We're going to be cheering you on.
Thank you.
And we also love this idea. We had to do virtual salons because of the pandemic, right?
Right.
Even though we love the idea that we have chapters all over the world and people can meet with each other and have something to eat and drink, and have that interaction and meet new people and new ideas. But with the virtual environments, with the virtual Infiom Salon and the Clubhouse, I feel like we met a lot of great people, and we're working with a lot of great people. And I really like the virtual world. I really like the metaverse. I think that's going to stay.
I think it's going to stay too, because I got to tell you, I like this whole idea of no pants. No pants. And I always say, the key to productivity for women is slippers and no bra. People laugh. Then they all got stuck at home. I'm like, I've been doing this for 20 years. Trust me,
That
I'm not wrong.
that is the entire reason I got into the fitness industry, is that I could wear a sports bra every day and tennis
Every day.
shoes.
Right? Every day. And that's, people look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, nope, you just wait. You work at home. And then I homeschooled my kid. And everybody's now having to homeschool. They're like, how did you do that without day drinking? I had to give them the whole to-do list.
So just a quick reminder for everyone, we have these discussions once a week here at the Create Unicorns with NFTs, DeFi and DAOs Infiom event on Clubhouse at 1:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. They only last an hour, so we're the tail end. And we also have Ask Us Anything about NFTs, DeFi and DAOs on Tuesdays that Jeanette moderates. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our virtual Infiom Salon on Zoom. You can sign up if you click on the infiom.com button there. You can sign up for our Zoom Salon. They're free. Next Wednesday, we're going to have 4 presenters that are CEOs of NFTs, DeFi, and DAO companies talking about their businesses. Some of them are doing partnerships. Some of them are raising funding, followed by this Clubhouse discussion. We also publish a newsletter. We actually were using that newsletter as our discussion topics today. It's published on Sundays. And if you go to our website, you can also sign up for the newsletter. So we look forward to seeing you here next week, same time, same people. I want to thank the panelists. Adrian, you kind of schooled us in NFTs today. Thank you so much once
You're
again.
welcome.
And
Anytime.
thank you. Great input from Daniel, always great input on the regulatory side. Jeanette, Frank, and Deb can appreciate all of you guys, and see you all next week. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
Bye.
you.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.
And if you want to listen to the replay, it's on the Clubhouse, but also on our YouTube channel. So that's also on our website. You can listen to all the replays of the last 6 months, kind of immerse yourself in the topics.
Oh, one of
Take
my
care.
zombies is here. Hi, Joel. I
Hi,
love
Joel.
that they
Last
all made accounts to come over here to play with me on Clubhouse. Was that not the sweetest thing ever?
Hey,
That is
very
the
last thing.
coolest.
Yeah, my actual name is Devin Kennedy, so that's why it says Dev Ken. So you can, because I know you're used to
Is
calling
it
me Ken.
Debbie? Debbie?
Devin.
Yeah. So Devin or Dev. So Dev is what the shortened version of Dev, or sorry, Devin, and then Kennedy is just shortened version of Kennedy, right? So I know you call
Devin
me.
Kennedy.
Yeah, you
Okay,
call
I
me
will
Ken.
remember. Good to
Okay.
see you as
Awesome.
always. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.